Hello guys, first of all, this is not a video about the game dying, nothing like that. In fact, it started to grow recently. If we look at Steam charts, you can see that in April the average players was like 350,000, and now it recently has started to grow again, so it's going up. So the game developers seem to be doing good redemption work. This is more of a video about the reasons why people quit when they quit, if that makes sense. More like when the game is not a good fit for someone. The reason why I wanted to make this video is because all of my friends that I started to play with quit, and wanted to analyze some of the reasons why they have quit and look at some other reasons why other people quit on the forums or on Reddit. So let's jump into the first reason. So first off, honing. A friend was very unlucky with honing. I remember comparing achievement strategic failure, where you can see how many times you have failed. I had 216 fails with 4 characters, while he was on 270 fails with just 2 characters. He would post on Discord every day how he fails his hones, complaining about RNG. Now I told him like 3 weeks before he quit that maybe you should not play this game, it's not for you. You're just upset every day. Nevertheless, he kept playing because he liked doing abyssal raids and the combat. Now, honing is probably not the core reason why he quit, but I'll put it under this umbrella. The final straw that made him quit was 1 week after Argos release happened. He used up all his materials and he was only 1355. He said, yeah sure, I can get to 1370 in 1 or 2 weeks, but what's the point of going through this honing process to just have 1 hour of quote-unquote fun content, which is Argos? Furthermore, despite AGS saying that it was a mistake and they rushed Argos release, he said he didn't trust Amazon to not gate people in the future from doing raid content. He said they put up these barriers for content that's not even good, meaning Argos is easy, which is kind of is. I'm sure he would have liked the Legion raids, but I think the experience of the process he has to go through to reach that point is worse than the experience of the raid is fun. If I had to break down his reasons for quitting, it would be that obviously honing and the content not being challenging enough and mistrust of Amazon Game Studios. Now, in a game's defense, I can say that they try to remedy this by introducing events where you can get more materials. So Guardian event and then the Orchidea event as well, and the released roadmap in which they said that they don't want to rush content again, so they will look at the data and they will base their decisions on the data. When the certain amount of people reach the required item level, then they will release the content. So that's the defense. Second reason why some people quit, and one of my friends did, is that he realized he needed to play more than 1 character. While he didn't have a problem with honing, he quit because one day he was honing trying to get to 1385 and he ran out of silver. We told him that he needs alts in order to get more silver. He didn't like the idea of playing more than 1 character and decided to quit. While he also liked the game and combat in general, the thought of having to grind new characters didn't appeal to him. So that was the end. Now, in game's defense, I can say that this game is designed to be played. The game wants you to play more than 1 character, and I think it was advertised as well like a game where you play multiple characters, so I think it's just the wrong fit. Third reason, the cost of keeping up. Now, another friend just one day he just stopped playing. We were progressing with them at the same pace, and we're doing Abyssals, Guardians, Argos Phase 2 and other content together. It happened a few days after we did Volganos together, he just stopped playing. He had one main and he had another alt in tier 3 and some more alts in tier 1 for dailies. He reached 1395 and I was at the same stage as him, just knocking on the door of Phase 3 Argos, and he just didn't log in anymore from that point. Later he told me that it is just too much he has to do every day and he started to neglect his real life responsibilities. Now he is playing Final Fantasy pretty much the same amount of time he was playing Lost Ark, so if I had to analyze this, I'd say in Final Fantasy you don't need to do that many things to have best gear. There you just farm a dungeon or raid and that's it, you have the best in slot. But in Lost Ark you have so many progression systems that you need to farm more, and you will never be on equal footing with other players who pay real money, for example. And this is a person who did tower without using any pots. He would just stay there for hours refusing to use pots because he liked the challenge, and I think this is the person who likes to compete with others, who wants to be better than others, damage for example. But since he has to put so much time in order to keep up, in order to be competitive, this is a bad fit for him. Whereas in Final Fantasy you don't need to do farm as much in order to compete on FF locks, for example, or if you want to compare yourself with others, and that game is more fair. In Lost Ark you have item level, gems, cards, engravings, tripods, quality, so you cannot realistically fairly compare with others. So that's my analysis of his situation. Now in the game's defense, I can say that it has no DPS meter, so it doesn't discriminate in that way. It doesn't discriminate that much, because yes, you have MVP screens and you can work out how much damage somebody does, but it doesn't tell the whole story. And if the game had a DPS meter, for example, then you can see the disparity between people a lot more, and I think it would bring more negativity. But so that's the thing I can say in game's defense, that even though you have this disparity in power level, but you don't have the DPS meter that would allow it for people to be more toxic. Now let's look at some other reasons why people quit. I have this Reddit post here. This person says, I am a Platinum founder, currently 1375 eye level and 2 alts in tier 2. I have enjoyed my time with the game and I like it overall, but there is one major flaw that really has been bothering me, and every day it gets worse and worse, and that is the restrictions on content and alts. I don't know if I can call my main truly my main, since I am expected to play more overall on my alts than actually playing on my main. So this is kinda goes to my second reason, that you have to play more than one character. I can only do Abyssal dungeons once a week, Argos once a week, and I am assuming Legion raids once a week, whether or not I full rewards. I can't even play the fun content more than once a week just to have fun. I don't want to play any alts. I wish I could just keep playing the character I love and not be encouraged by the games to spend most of the time on what essentially are mules. It's gotten to the point that after doing my dailies and weeklies on my main, I just log off, and today I just couldn't be bothered. Why have this system? Just let us get a roster-wide cap on rewards instead of per character. So this person is complaining about the lockouts, that he cannot do the fun content over even without rewards. I don't know what to say about this. I think that the game's design is thinks that if you play more characters, then you can do the content over and over again. So maybe the defense is that it's the game design, but what do you guys think? Do you think you should be able to do the same content like Argos or Abyssal raids, even even if you don't get any more rewards. I think most people in the West prefer having non-lockouts. Because from my experience in Elder Scrolls, for example, it has no lockouts, or when Swords of Legends came out, people immediately complained about there being lockouts, and they immediately removed the lockouts. So I think people in the West, they really hate having these lockouts for raids and stuff. Another reason, this person says one of my friends using an RMT service and not getting banned or receiving any penalty / punishment whatsoever. I asked an agent through live chat about the banning process, and they pretty much told me you can get away with anything as long as you don't do it 3 times. I can ignore the fact that the game is starting to feel like a chore with repetitive content, and that the daily game loop is just for a small chance to increase the number with gear upgrades. I can ignore the fact that Amazon and Smilegate are making horrid decisions with how they're releasing content, because I genuinely like the game and I believe things will get better. But I can't ignore the fact that you can RMT, ruin the game's economy without being penalized. Also, he's gotten so much more toxic since he is ahead of most people, judging people's power level, engravings and gear spec choices. I am out. So we know that Amazon is doing ban waves and they're introducing things on Steam to counter the real money trades. Now, I think in the history of all the games, this always has been a problem, and I think a lot of companies, they don't really have the resources to deal with this, but I think actually that Amazon is doing quite a good job of trying to deal with this. They did a huge ban wave which halved the player numbers in Lost Ark, and then also they are doing things on Steam where they're introducing the checks and where you cannot send mail below if you don't reach certain trusted level. So, and they have the people and resources to deal with this. So I think they're actually doing a pretty good job, and right now I think the game's economy is in a good place, because before it had so much gold in the economy because gold was so cheap. But right now you see that the prices of crystals have come down, and you cannot sell the accessories anymore for 50, 60, 70,000. Like, everything has come down, and resource prices come down. So I think they're actually doing a pretty good job there. Now here's another reason. The game is kind of fun. I mean, it has some stuff going for it, but it's not like exceptional in any way. It would really excel based on community. Unfortunately, that appears to be full of former World of Warcraft players who have brought their toxic attitudes and behaviors with them to the game, rendering it not a lot of fun for anyone who just wants to play the game for fun, not as a second job. So if you don't have those toxic sensibilities ingrained in you from years of WoW abuse, you may want to consider quitting too before you encounter them. It's a real shame WoW has died and set loose this toxic avalanche upon other games and ruining their communities. But hopefully they will settle on one or go back to WoW eventually, and we won't have to deal with them in our games anymore. Now, what I can say is about this, that every game I played more or less had a toxic community. So I don't think it's the truth that it's because of World of Warcraft players, but any MMO I can think of, I've always had toxic players and they had good players. So I think it's just a matter of trying to ignore the toxicity and playing with the community and trying to find the community that you enjoy being a part of. I mean, there's always going to be toxic players, no matter what the game. So that's all I can say about this. Now, another reason, like, I get the game wants to slow your progression, but some RNG design choices are so annoying. Like, it's already took me over a month to grind to tier 3. You already got time out of me, but then I can't just buy the armor pieces I need. I have to run multiple chaos dungeons for multiple days to not get the armor piece I want. And then this person just goes on to complain. He's talking about for when you finish tier 2 and you finish Punica, you need to do chaos dungeon in order to get your tier 3, and you cannot buy it like it's not like in tier 1 or tier 2 where you can just buy the gear from auction house. So I think this is the problem that Amazon should look at, because some people generally have been stuck for 5 or even 6 or 7 days trying to get their gear from Chaos Dungeon and not being able to do tier 3 content. So I think this is a legitimate flaw in the game. So that's it for the video, guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.